Hello, everyone. It's so good to be with you again. Here again, once we're looking at the prophecies and the visions that were given to Daniel to describe the season, even the season of the last 2,000 years, when the nation of Israel, which was filled with hope and the promises of God, was going to be removed from the land. But God is letting us know that there's going to be a time of the Gentiles. There would be four great empires. Can we remind ourselves as well that it would first be the Babylonian Empire, then the Medo-Persian Empire, then the Greek Empire, then the Roman Empire. Daniel consistently receives this vision that at the end of the season of the Gentiles, when God is going to focus once again on the nation of Israel and fulfill his promises to them, there will come an antichrist, a false Messiah, a great one, very powerful, but very deceitful. Daniel in Daniel chapter 8, starting to read at verse 5, once again is receiving a vision, and it consists of a ram with two horns, and it also a male goat that has one horn proceeding from his eyes. So let's start reading in verse 5 of Daniel chapter 8. And while I was observing, behold, a male goat was coming from the west over the surface of the entire earth without touching the ground. And the goat had a prominent horn between his eyes. And he came up to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing in the front of the canal, and rushed at him in his mighty wrath. And I saw him come up beside the ram, and he was enraged at him, and he struck the ram and smashed his two horns, and the ram had no strength to withstand him. So he hurled him to the ground and trampled on him, and there was no one to rescue the ram from his power. So as we're looking at this, let's just look at these two animals. There's a ram with two horns. The revelation came to Daniel that this is once again the Medo-Persian Empire. Do you remember, as we saw in Daniel's vision of the Colossus had one head, but then the next part of the statue had two arms? The two arms coincide with the two horns of the ram. It also is consistent with the vision of the bear that had two shoulders. This is the Medo-Persian Empire, the two. Then we have this goat, this male goat that comes, and he has one horn. He's like a unicorn, proceeding from his two eyes. This is a picture of the greatness of Alexander the Great, raised up to conquer the world. Alexander the Great, the male goat, comes up against the Medo-Persian Empire, the ram with two horns, and he is enraged against it, and he tramples him, and he puts him down. Daniel, once again, is seeing this vision. So then as we're looking at this, let's read a little bit further, because in verse 8 it says, and the male goat made himself exceedingly great, the Greek Empire. But once he became powerful, the large horn was broken, and in its place 4 prominent horns came up toward the 4 winds of heaven. This is a reminder that when Alexander the Great is done ruling, that after that 4 kingdoms are established in the Greek Empire. So 4 horns replaced the 1 unicorn. But out of them one came a rather small horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, towards the east, and towards the beautiful land, towards Israel. So out of the 4 horns, 1 horn has a little horn. And that's what I want to focus on. Because this little horn is the one that can speak forth the blasphemies and come against God. And it says here, he'll come against the beautiful land, against Israel. So we read a little bit further in chapter 8, and we find out that Daniel is seeing the revelation unfolded to him because Gabriel is commanded to reveal this to him. So let's read in Daniel chapter 8, starting to read in verse 23, Gabriel speaks the revelation to Daniel. In the latter period of their dominion, when the wrongdoers have run their course, the Gentile world and the evil that's going to rise up, a king will arise, that little horn, insolent and skilled in intrigue. His power will be mighty, but not by his own power. Why? Because he will be empowered by Satan. We're going to be seeing as the dragon is cast out of heaven, he infiltrates the Antichrist and he lives through him. So the Antichrist is empowered, but not by his own power. He will destroy to an extraordinary degree and be successful and do as he pleases. He will destroy mighty men and the holy people. He will come against the mighty men of the earth and the Jews. And through his shrewdness, he will make deceit a success by his influence. He'll live by a lie. He will make himself great in his own mind, and he will destroy many while they are at ease. He will even oppose the Prince of Princes. So the Antichrist comes right before the Prince of Princes, the Messiah, Jesus Christ himself. And he will try to oppose him, but he will be broken without human agency by the power of God. And the vision of the evenings and the mornings which has been told to me is true. But as for me, keep the vision secret because it pertains to many days in the future. So Daniel was told, hey, just keep this thing a secret, that it's going to be shrouded and veiled because the ultimate reality of this is going to be revealed at the end of time. Believers, we're right there. We're in that time of lawlessness, deceitfulness, and shrewdness. And as we're looking at all of this, it's going to happen in the future. And Daniel, when we saw this vision, it says that he was sick for many days. So here, let's wrap this up. One more reminder that God is very careful to let us know there's coming an evil man that's going to come against Israel and against the Messiah himself. But God will be victorious in the end, and that's our confidence today.